If I do like that, maybe. I wonder if this works as I think it is gonna work. Alisa, can you show the Zoom?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is that what I'm sharing? What did I share now? Oh my god. Now maybe. No, this makes sense. I'll try to record this. I don't know if it will work at the same time, but we'll see. So this is a Canva recording, and I will share the PDF. Yes. So this is AI apps introduction. And some background for this web as application platform course. This is first time I'm adding it to data science module. We had like some different people that teach this module, and earlier it was, for example, Nicholas that was really into Elasticsearch. If some of you are re-registered, you maybe still recall that. And now we have Alisa, and we have a lot more focus on visualization and scientific data, which I think is very nice. And my addition to this year is basically that I want you to try to work with AI. A lot of you have already done this in some other projects. A lot of people are going to use it in their thesis projects. So this could be like a first touch base. And what we will go through today is augmented retrieval augmented generation, so RAG apps. That is one suggestion of how you can incorporate AI into your data analysis app that we are developing here. One step further from that is agents, and then we discuss some other ways of incorporating AI, because and we already discussed it in some other workshops, but it's not the only way. So I know you like very much to go into like, oh, this is a requirement that's written in README, and that I do it as a suggestion. If you come to me with your own idea of saying, no, I want to have LLM powered search with my text data in here instead of RAG, if it makes sense, then we can talk about it, and it can also be a project that is accepted. So just keep that in mind. We'll go through some practical aspects of AI powered features. And talk a bit about some tools. And we, after my presentation, we'll look at some examples. Why I think this is important, and we, as web developers, should learn how to use it. I know that lots of you already use AI tools for programming, but what we see now is that AI and LLMs and other models are going through all types of applications. If you compare like the first internet website and then 100 million internet users, this first revolution in the 90s, and then social media revolution and all the apps becoming mobile. This is the AI revolution here that is happening, and it's happening a lot faster than the previous revolutions and updates in technology. So just 2022 ChatGPT is released, and now it is everywhere, and there are a lot of competitive models. There are models for everything, not only for text data but also for images, voice, and pretty much everyone in by the time you graduate will expect AI features in their web app. So for the very least, we should understand what it is and how to use it. And how and where it can be used. If so, some simple examples are personalization and recommendations. So things that previously maybe been hard coded, or simple algorithms that suggest things based on your previous choices, like for example, apps, as you see, like Spotify suggesting you the next song you will like, or in the e-commerce website the next product you will like. That now becomes a call to a more complicated AI, external AI model, and you need to know how to use it. Same with like content generation, search, that also often becomes AI powered. Chatbots as a feature on websites, like talk to personalized AI assistant and so on. And in our case here with analytics, is that the job of a data analyst or a business intelligence platform now becomes very broad and accessible to everyone. AI can perform today fully automated, simple analytics and do predictions. So models that previously we needed to maybe train and develop in many months, today are available and performant out of the box. So that is really cool. And that's why I think it's important for you to be aware of it. And it is also, if you look at the job market, it is very the skill is very high demand. Um, the AI, as I said, is very broad. I'm giving you an example of what you can do with specifically LLMs and text data. And LLMs is just neural networks trained on text data, a lot of text data, basically the whole internet of text data, and then some. But we are not going to go too much into how they work. That will require probably introduction to machine learning course and pretty advanced math. But what you need to know is basically it is a model that derives features, so important variables, from a lot of data by processing it and looking for patterns. And the way it encodes this patterns is basically with probability scores. So when it gives you an answer, it is basically predicting, based on what you gave it, on the text that you gave it, what is the most likely response based on all the other data. If you want to go more deep into this, like so this examples with the cat is here. A very good article from a data scientist at Microsoft explaining LLMs in very simple terms. So you'll get this link, and I suggest you look at it. I think without understanding at least the basics, it's difficult to come up with an idea what I can do, what I can use it for in my app. So yeah, here's like an example of, like, if we give it the context, the cat likes to sleep in the, and then it kind of fills in box, because that's most likely this is a sentence that occurred most often in all of the text that it processed on the internet. That's why you also, in the similar fashion, if you ever try to generate an image with these models, and you say, like, I'm for example trying to do a covers for my lectures, and I go like a web development teacher is giving a lecture. You can you can guess what it is. And even when I use my own image as a prompt, I often get myself with glasses, a male, and bald. So I'm like, nice. So this is what this basically just a bias because of how many annotated points it got. Basically, not serious. It's not enough of us, at least. There's not enough of female web development teachers for AI to be trained on. So that is basically a limitation also that you need to be aware of when you use the models. Then you probably heard about GPT and maybe even Claude, and you use Cursor, I'm sure of it. But there are a lot more models out there. They don't have to be expensive. There are a lot of free models that are available through Hugging Face and OpenRouter. These are platforms that I want you to look up if you are going for using AI in this assignment. You can filter there for completely free models or very cheap models. And smaller models, fine-tuned models on different tasks. There are a lot of things, and both of these have an open API, which you just basically you register for. You get a key. It's very similar interface to if you have used ChatGPT, OpenAI. So just a simple REST call. And you can specify a model and can start with developing with a completely free model, and the format will be the same. So if you then would like to, I don't know, use it further, and you can update to more recent, more advanced model. But when you develop, so you don't use all your credits on calls. For some, and then of course, like consider which models are best for your task and for your feature. You can also use both OpenAI and Google AI have older models. So like previous versions of both GPT and Gemini are either free or nearly free for use, and for a lot of things like giving simple data insights or search like functions, it is more than enough. Like you don't need deep seek latest reasoning to implement a lot of features. So that is that. Then why do we need retrieval augmented generation, and why can't I just copy paste things into my prompt? And it is the context window problem. Now, most recent models, like here, for instance, is Gemini 1.5, and like I think Gemini 2 is even more. Latest models have very large context window, and that means that it kind of everything you can send the whole book to it, just paste it in the prompt, and it will be able to process it without losing information. And that is like the 2 million tokens is like a huge encyclopedia. It's a lot of words. So then I can just post my data into there. There are two problems with it. If you continue chatting and if you continue analyzing, you will you will anyway lose the where you started first. So you will not be able to implement so-called memory. It will forget what you have talked to with the model before, and it will start fetching data from this pre-trained analysis, and will be irrelevant and be hallucinations. And even though all the model developers kind of try to strive for as large context window as possible, it will still process the data, whether it's text documents or sensor data or some scientific data. It will process it flatly. And retrieval augmented generation lets you kind of insert your data into the context of an LLM without retraining it or anything, but it presents the data in a way that LLM can understand in a structured way. If you ever tried to prompt ChatGPT with structured data, you can quickly see where the limitation lies. So just try to give it a simple table and then say can you regenerate the table, like if it's I don't know, schedule, for instance. I want to optimize my kids' schedule. It can't even understand that this is a table, is a structure, and what structure it has, because it's just text to it. Based on basically how I said this. It only predicts that the cat sleeps in the box. It can't see the full picture. It doesn't have spatial thinking. It doesn't have full reasoning if you don't present the data in the correct format. And that's where RAG comes along. It helps you mitigate these problems of basically potential for hallucinations. When it doesn't have access to your data, it will come up with something else. It's your way to extend the context without sending your data to all of your data to LLM. So, like, especially if it's proprietary, some kind of specific data, you want to have it. You want to have full control over it. And then, of course, yeah, you get more or less unlimited context window. Mhm. So, and then you can also trace the answers, because you can see what part of your data LLM had access to answer your question, so you can verify if it's correct. How this type of architecture usually looks like is basically, if you have some kind of documents, let's say it can be all different types of data. The simplest example is when you just provide more textual documents, usually markdown or PDFs. They need to be indexed and split into chunks. So that's the first step. And then they're placed in a vector database. I will say what that is. So basically, but for now, it's just a specific way to store data. So we have relational, we have Mongo with object based, and then there is vector databases that is very useful for specifically LLMs. Then when you supply a query, the query also needs to be pre-processed, and together with the query and the vector database, another module which is called embedding model. You're not going to implement this yourself, so don't be scared. But this is what happens in the background. Is some kind of embedding model that performs vector search in this database based on the query. So will be an algorithm that lets us with sort of access the most important information out of all this encyclopedia that we gave it. So instead of just linearly processing it, it will process this vector space of things that are related to each other, and only send that as a context to the model. So basically, just a very advanced way to optimize your prompt with your extended context. And why vector databases work is because it's already, when you create a vector database, it processes your data and sort of clusters it. So it sees that, like, kitten is close to the cat and it's more close to dog, wolf, and other animals than banana and apple. So if I'm asking LLM about where kitten sleeps, it will only look at this data. It will not hallucinate about the banana. That is, like, in the simple terms. And this is a similar way where you need to tell the LLM what this data is about. If this it's a patience, this column means this column means that, and only with that context prompt you will get a result that's a lot better. The next step then from this, that you probably, again, you come in contact with this every day because you use coding agents. So that is also basically an agentic RAG. Because your code base becomes an extended context. It gets indexed, vectorized, and processed by Cursor or whatever else you use, Copilot, and then gets sent together with other structured information to an LLM. And based on the response, there is also a tool calling, so it generates code. So in that way, it becomes not only like a textual response, but also an action. And this type of actions you can chain indefinitely. You can have a workflow automation, basically based on the data that we have available, for instance, in our Google Drive about the project. If I get an email from Alisa that says, "Can you get me this data?" LLM can automatically process it, retrieve it from the Google Drive, and send an email to Alisa without me doing anything, if I program this agentic RAG. So I think this is really cool, and It is a lot of things we can do. Now, as I said, all of this kind of things that happen in the background, you don't need to implement from scratch. There is a lot of tooling available for web developers. I have used Agno and already this is called PhiData before. It's a Python library for making basically the backend of RAG. In that case, you will have some kind of similar structure with client server and send the responses, and then you can visualize or do whatever in your Node or React or whatever app. This might be difficult and steep learning curve if you didn't do Python before. Because then you don't only need to master Python, you also need to potentially use a vector database in Python, and you need to make an API expose your LLM, your agent or your RAG to your front end. But it's possible, and there are examples. And today, students here will show an example of that. LangChain is another very popular library that exists both in Python and in JavaScript, and that I think is a good starting point for many of you. Here is a guide, basically step by step with all the code, free code camp for how to do your own chatbot with just JavaScript and LangChain. So that could be a good starting point if you wanna look into that. And if you need help, then just let me know. Of course, none of this is mandatory. As I said, this is first do provide some context to your LLM. Then I'm happy. Then if you wanna build further, agents is the future, and you can see that it will infiltrate all areas of all sorts of industries, because that's a very good way to automate things. Um, that was it for me. Now I have, ska vi se, I'm gonna